So mental health story number 2. This is my kitty Jack, by the way. Did not name him this. I got him from the shelter like this. And hopefully he'll stick around with me for at least a minute. Okay, so my story. When I was younger, I always thought that I was probably suffering on my own. Everyone else always made it seem like their life was perfect, especially on social media, and they always seemed so happy on the outside. Then, after a year of university had passed, I started to see a ton of my friends fall into a state of depression. It wasn't that they were willing to admit that they were struggling with their mental health, not yet at least, but it was more because all the signs were popping up, because they were all piling up. And it was having a big negative impact on their school life, their social life, and their overall wellness. Sorry. I have a friend that I met in university. We used to hang out with this big group of people, go to coffee shops, play billiards, that kind of thing. But one day she stopped coming. She barely went to classes, and her relationships with everybody kind of went downhill. At one point, she wasn't even leaving the house at all. So during this time, I was coming to terms with my own mental health struggles. So I recognized all the signs, and I really wanted to help. I was one of the few people that she was still willing to talk to or leave the house briefly to go on a coffee date. And I was happy and grateful that she was still willing to, but occasionally I'd have to pull her out. And one day I said to her, I noticed you haven't going to class. I haven't seen you on campus a lot. And she was willing to explain why, and I listened. Sure, I was going through some struggles and self-realizations at that time, which she also knew about. But her story, even though it sounded similar, was completely different, and I had to make sure that I listened and validated her feelings without assuming that whatever worked for me would work for her. And I let her know that I cared and that we could hang out at any time, and she didn't want to go to school, so I mentioned that taking time off school and going to see a doctor is totally acceptable to work on your mental health. In return, I'd also share on what my mental health strategies would be, partially because one thing, I needed to take care of my own mental health, and I couldn't impose my advice on her. I could only suggest it. So in the end, she did start going to see mental health. Sorry, Jack. She did start going to see a psychiatrist to get help, and her family was surprisingly involved in her medical care. I was super relieved that she managed to open up to her parents, especially since we were scared that they were still stigmatized about mental health discussion. And I learned a lot from this, actually. I realized that it's important to be there for each other and be ready in case someone in your life needs help one day. Because I personally really wish that I had someone to talk to when I was struggling. And I learned that even though we're going through the same type of mental health struggle, it's not the same for everyone. Not all of us take the same amount of time to get over the struggle. And now I make it a point to ensure that all my friends know I'm a big advocate for mental health through Jack.org, and I'd be open to listen to them if they ever needed me. Thank you.